Hello again. So, when Reverend Kevin asked me to speak, he said, he was kind of happy about that because we've been talking about the power of now for last month and this month, and Mark Anthony Lord was not going to speak on the book. He was going to speak on something else. So I'm here to talk about the chapter that we were supposed to talk about anyway. So divine guidance happens every time. So I had to laugh when I read the title of this particular chapter. It just made me laugh. It is Portals into the Unmanifested. It just cracked me up. It sounds, what? What is that? I have to say that again. Ready? Portals into the Unmanifested. So, after reading the chapter, I need to keep things simple. I need to break it down into how can I use this information in everyday life. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And the other thing I learned from one of my fabulous speaking teachers was that we as ministers get an opportunity to be up here and be authentic and vulnerable. So I need to confess something to you. I am very, very serious about play. I'm very serious about play and its importance and its value in our life. And here's why. Because play is only in the now. It's only in the now. I'm a drama teacher. I teach elementary school drama. I also teach adults with drama occasionally. I do a lot of improv stuff. And it's only in the now, right in this moment. We don't deal with the past or the future. And play is the same way. If you think about it, especially when we're kids, when we're playing, we don't get with our buddies and say, okay, what did we do last week? Let's make sure we structure this and outline it and figure it out. Oh, what are we maybe going to do tomorrow? No, we just play. We get with our friends and we say, you're going to be this and I'm going to be that, and let's play. Let's pretend. I'll be a pirate and you'll be an army man. Are they together? Who knows? Who cares? We just do it. I used to love to play school, and I was, of course, always the teacher. Are you surprised? And I also loved to put on little shows with my brother and my cousins and make up stories. That was something I loved to do. I'm a major tree climber, hopscotch, all kinds of play. And it was never not in the present moment. Eckhart Tolle says that being in the now releases bondage to and identification with form. Releases bondage to and identification with form. And that made me think of tag. You're it. You're not it. You're it. You're not it. Ollie, ollie, oxen free. We have no attachment to form when we're playing tag because we're either it or not it, and it can change in a moment. So we have to let it go. We just have to be present right then in the game. Being in the now creates a gap in the incessant stream of thought. I love that phrase from the book. The incessant stream of thought that's going on in our minds. Being in the now moment creates a little space. And that space is a bridge between what Eckhart Tolle calls the unmanifested, and we might call God or the divine or spirit or energy or love or whatever. It's this unmanifested stuff. And we, as manifested stuff, find it challenging to feel the unmanifested, to connect to this infinite presence. It feels it's just too big. But the gap, the now moment, is that bridge where we can feel the divine operating in our life. He says that we can only create this gap in our inner life. It's not anything we can create in our outer world. Specifically, I quote, when we keep some attention in our inner world, when we feel our inner body, when engaged in everyday activities, we feel the ever-present peace and stillness. So I took that very much literally. Everyday activities. Can I connect with this inner place in me in the now moment? So in the daily drudgery of our lives, in laundry and dishes and cutting up vegetables or whatever, can I also be doing and being at the same time? Of course we can. Of course we can. We bring just enough attention to our inner world to be connected in the moment. And that's mindfulness. We've heard about mindfulness. So if I'm chopping the vegetables, am I mindlessly chopping, which means I might cut my thumb, or am I putting love into every slice? If I'm folding laundry or putting it into the washer, am I consciously saying, okay, I'm putting this in, I'm putting this in? Just paying attention in the moment creates a space, creates a gap. He says that we use portals, we open portals within us to create this gap. And I'm going to talk about 4 portals that he speaks about. And we're going to play a little. Are you surprised? No. So I invite you to just experiment with me a little bit. So the first portal that he talks about is meditation. And in meditation, I look at 3 different kind of forms of that. And the first one is just the breath. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Feel your body in the chair. You won't be here long. So I'm going to invite you into one conscious breath. Just breathe regularly for right now, because I'm going to explain it a little bit, and then I'll say go. So when we breathe in, we're going to breathe in through our nose and fill it all the way up to the bottom of our belly. And feel the belly expand. Feel the chest expand. And then as we let it go, we will feel the body contract just a little, and we'll feel the breath as it leaves our nostrils. So let's try one good deep breath. Feel it all the way in and feel it all the way out. Maybe do one more. Breathe it all the way in and all the way out. And open your eyes. Did you have any other thoughts while you were doing that? Maybe, maybe not. I find that one breath, I have a hard time having thoughts. If I'm really being conscious of what I'm doing in taking that breath, it's challenging for other thoughts to come in. If I do 15 or 20 breaths, my mind might want to start coming in and talking to me a little. But one conscious breath. So somebody's coming towards me and I can tell they're agitated. I take a breath. I ground myself. I come to that place of peace within me first before I reach for my phone to pick it up. At a stoplight, I'll take a conscious breath just to bring that moment of inner consciousness and awareness into what I'm doing right now. And that helps me to stop the incessant stream. Focus is a great practice, to focus just on one thing, a candle flame, a color, an image in your mind. And mindfulness, as I spoke about a little bit earlier, when we're doing these everyday, ordinary activities, people say, oh, I have to go do this. I have to go grocery shopping. No, we get to. We get to, because these are moments created by the divine for us to see the divine in everything, in each moment, in these little spaces of time. It's easy to find the divine in a Sunday service or in a meditation. Easier. I don't know if it's easy, but it's easier. But can we do it while we're driving our car? Can we do it when we're walking our dog? When we're speaking to someone? Of course. That's life, and it's all divine. So meditation is one way to open a portal to create a gap. The second thing he speaks about is what was in the reading, surrender. I didn't used to like that word. I really like that word now. Surrender means letting go of resistance to what is. Because what is, whether we like it or not. And my resistance, as the Borg say, is futile. So I can waste a lot of my time and energy trying to resist. I don't like the way it is. I don't want it this way. It's a lot of energy that I waste. What is. So instead of going, this is happening now, I can say, oh, this is happening now. With a little more curiosity than panic. With a little more interest and moment than trying to figure it all out and fix it. Surrender, for me, means I'm letting go of how I think it needs to be, and I'm just allowing that what is happening to be happening. Now, if a bus is coming towards me, that doesn't mean I don't move. But I might have a heightened awareness of how quickly I need to do that if I'm present and not panicking and freeze. So, surrender, another portal. Silence is a great portal. And he says in the book, one of the things I really thought was interesting was pay attention just after you hear a sound to the silence that is left. So again, I'm going to ask you to go inside, take a little breath, close your eyes if you want to. The reason we have you close your eyes is because it allows us to block out all the other external stimuli and just connect with ourselves. So I'm going to make a noise in a moment, and I'm going to invite you to feel the silence right after the sound. Take a breath. Could you feel the silence? So often I'm in a meditation. We live in a city, and there's noise. Car alarm, dog barking, kid wailing or laughing, some emergency vehicle going by. And I can take that and pull myself right out of my meditation, right out of that space. Or I can use that moment to bring me right back to the now. Siren goes by, wee, wee, wee. Silence. What's the space right after the sound that we can feel the silence? So we have meditation and surrender and silence and space. Life is more space than stuff. We are more space than stuff. If you look at the universe and the sky, there's a lot more space than things out there. And in us, there's a lot more space than stuff. Although some of us don't feel that way. I feel like a lot of stuff. So feeling the space is a really weird concept because both space and silence are nothing. They're no thing. We can't pinpoint them or measure them really without these opposing opposites. Sound we can't experience without, or silence we can't experience without a sound and maybe another sound. And then we feel the silence between them. Space is the same thing. Without this or that, we can't feel the space. So one more little play. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Ground in. And feel the essence of this room. This room that has had thousands and thousands of prayers. Not just by us, but also by the Masons. And imagine that the chairs disappear and the lights disappear and the decor disappears. Everything disappears. Feel the edges of your skin where you stop and space begins. And now dissolve the edges of your skin. Feel the space. Take a breath. Come back. When we can feel the space, it becomes palpable, tangible. It is no longer a no thing, but a thing that we can experience like the divine. Meditation, surrender, silence, and space. 4 portals we can use to create the gap that bridges us to the divine. Eckhart Tolle says that silence plus space equals stillness. I like that. Silence plus space is stillness. And he says stillness is the infinitely creative womb of the universe. I like that. The infinitely creative womb of the universe. This is where we co-create with the divine. We go to stillness. And then what wants to make itself known as us, through us, can be heard. And it's different for everyone. How the divine goes through me and comes out as me is very different from any of you. We're all unique. And the divine created each one of us so that it could express divinely and uniquely through us. If we're never quiet enough, if we're never still enough to hear it, then we may not be feeling it in our own life. And it's all about feeling it. If we can't feel the divine, what's the point? You know, it's great as a concept. If we can't feel it in our own beingness, in our own life, then it's just an idea. And it's not an everyday thing. And the divine is definitely an everyday thing, an every moment thing. Eckhart Tolle says we need opposites to know space and silence. I talked about that. We need this and we need that in order to know these concepts, because they are crazy infinite concepts and we're finite. So we need the opposites. He says the world of form is needed for the unmanifested to be realized. Otherwise, the unmanifested wouldn't have created any form. But it needs form. We need form to connect to this infinite beingness. So he talks about 4 portals, and in the book, he does kind of a question and answer thing. And one person said, well, what about love? Isn't love a portal? And he said, no, love is not a portal. And I thought, ooh, that's interesting. Let me read more. He said, love is what comes through the portal. So we open up, and love comes through. And then I got this picture of Red Rover. Red Rover, Red Rover. Send Will right over. Only in Red Rover, we were trying to keep the people out, right? Ooh, they're going to run at us, and they're going to keep them out. But we're playing a different game. Red Rover, send love right over. Come on through. Come right on by. So we're opening that space. We're opening the portal so that love can come through. Rumi, an ancient Sufi poem, has a great quote that I love. Your task is not to search for love, but to find all the barriers that you have built against it. I love that quote. Eckhart Tolle tweaks it a little, and I love it even more. Your task is not to search for love, but to find a portal through which love can enter. So we don't have to knock down barriers and blow them up with TNT and chisel our way through. We can open to the portal, open to the love, and feel it in our lives, and then be it in a more regular manner, in a more regular fashion. So I invite you into these practices as an experiment, as my mom always says. My mom says, let's just try it for a month. If we like it, great. If we don't, well, let it go. So I invite you not just to experiment, but to play. Play with meditation. I don't want to work at my prayers or work at my relationship with spirit or work at my relationship with people. I want to play with them. There's a lot more joy there and a lot more freedom and a lot more now moment. So play with meditation. Play with the breath. Play with surrender. Okay, this is what's happening. Can I just relax and breathe? And we may not be able to see the giant picture of why this thing is unfolding for us, and if I believe there is one power and presence, and I believe that I am intricately entwined with this presence, and that this presence only has good for me, and I mean the capital G good, which is way beyond anything I as a human can sort of wrap my head around, then I have to surrender. I have to trust that what's happening is for me in some way, and I might not see it for another year or 2 or 10. Things that seem to be a problem can often be a gift. I'm teaching foundations class on Saturday mornings, and one of the things we talked about yesterday was I have this tooth that catches food. A problem. My dentist wants to file that little spot off. And I said, no, because that makes me floss. Every time I eat, something gets stuck in there, drives me crazy, and it makes me floss. I carry little floss picks in my car. And so otherwise, I would just forget flossing. I would kind of blow it off. But that little irritation makes me do it. So when things are coming up in my life that seem like they're not preferred experiences, as Donna so often says, Ernest Holmes talks about preferred and non-preferred instead of positive and negative. I like that. If I'm having a non-preferred experience, maybe it's just my tooth, and I just can't see how that's a gift for me yet. I can relax and trust and surrender that it will be made known. It will be made known. So I invite you to play. I invite you to play more. If you don't own a kid, go find one. Borrow them for a day. They will help you to play. Get permission. And if you don't know any kids, find a grown-up like me who likes to play. And we can do hopscotch, or we can, jump off the side of a cliff, or whatever, we want to do. Have some fun. Life is supposed to be fun and playful. So let's pray. Take a breath. I am so grateful to know that there is just this one thing that's ever going on, and I call it God, I call it good, I call it unmanifested, I call it love. And I know that right here and right now, we all have the ability to open the portals to love. We no longer need to smash through barriers, but just surrender and open to the good that is right here in the space and the silence and the noise. I know that in every moment we have the opportunity to touch the now, to be a bridge, to feel the divine operating in and through our lives. And for this, I am so grateful. And I completely release this whole day right back into God, where it's always been and always will be. And I invite you into the now moment of song and joy and play. And so it is.